A federal judge declares DACA is illegal, likely sending the case to the Supreme Court for a third time. And after 2 weeks, the search for an escaped prisoner comes to a dramatic end. The Morning Rundown starts now. This is Straight Arrow News, bringing you unbiased, straight facts. Today is Thursday, September 14th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kara Rucker. A federal judge in Texas has ruled that the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, known as DACA, is illegal. The ruling likely sending the case back to the Supreme Court. Judge Andrew Hannon said Wednesday DACA, the federal policy that prevents the deportation of undocumented immigrants who were brought to the U.S. as children, a group often called Dreamers, is unlawful. But his order does not require the federal government from taking action against current DACA recipients. It does, however, bar the U.S. from approving any new applications. Texas and 8 other states are suing to stop the Obama-era policy, saying DACA results in taxpayers incurring the cost of social services for immigrants in the country illegally. Defenders of the program, including the federal government, say the policy helps those who had no choice about entering the country and argue the 9 states have failed to provide evidence showing the costs they have incurred are tied to DACA recipients. Judge Hannon had ruled the program was unlawful once before in 2021. The Biden administration created a new version that took effect last year, but Hannon has now ruled it was still illegal. With an appeal likely, the Supreme Court is expected to decide the program's fate for a third time. The High Court was deadlocked on a ruling in 2016, and 4 years later ruled the Trump administration improperly ended DACA. According to the latest government data, there were 578,680 immigrants enrolled in DACA as of March of this year. The United Auto Workers Union and major automakers have until midnight tonight to reach a contract agreement, or else see potentially more than 140,000 employees begin to strike. General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis have put offers on the table that the union has rejected. Workers want 40% pay raises over 4 years, a 32-hour work week with 40 hours of pay, and traditional pensions for new hires. The automakers have tried countering the demands, but the union has not accepted. If a strike does occur, the union says it won't be all at once. The strategy is to start striking at the automakers' most profitable plants. This has become a common theme in the workplace. Unionized workers going on strike or threatening to for better pay and working conditions, including American Airlines pilots and UPS drivers who have seen their pay increase. Economists predict an all-out auto workers strike would cost about $500 million per day, though the union says the strike will happen gradually for now. Our business correspondent Simone Del Rosario will highlight 5 of the most costly strikes in U.S. history in her 5 for Friday segment, out tomorrow morning. Portions of the Northeast are monitoring the potential impacts from Hurricane Lee as it moves toward the coast. Hurricane and tropical storm watches are in effect as heavy rainfall, floods, and high winds are possible threats into the weekend. Hurricane Lee could arrive as early as Friday evening for portions of New England. The storm remained at Category 2 strength Wednesday evening, but is expected to gradually lose strength by the time it nears the U.S. and Canada. After an intensive search that lasted 14 days, Danilo Cavalcante, the convicted murderer who escaped from a Pennsylvania prison, is back behind bars thanks to thermal imaging technology and a Border Patrol dog named Yoda. Cavalcante was captured Wednesday, tactical teams using an aircraft to pick up a heat source in a wooded area in the southeastern part of the state. Officials saying they had the element of surprise on their side. Authorities say the 34-year-old fugitive and native of Brazil was still carrying a stolen rifle when he tried to escape by crawling through heavy underbrush, but was subdued by the search dog, who bit Cavalcante on the scalp. No shots were fired during the arrest. Some of the officers involved in the capture posed for a group photo with the handcuffed inmate. An official with the Pennsylvania State Police says he was not bothered by that, saying, quote, "Those men and women worked amazingly hard through some very trying circumstances. They're proud of their work." Cavalcante was arraigned on an escape charge and then taken to a state prison near Philadelphia, where he is serving a life sentence for killing his ex-girlfriend last month. Republican Senator Mitt Romney of Utah has announced he will not be running for re-election in 2024. He believes it's time for new leadership to tackle the challenges ahead, citing his age as the main reason not to run for another term.
While I'm not running for re-election, I'm not retiring from the fight. I'll be your United States Senator until January of 2025. I've spent my last 25 years in public service of one kind or another. At the end of another term, I'd be in my mid-80s. Frankly, it's time for a new generation of leaders.
Romney encouraged the 2024 presidential frontrunners of both parties to follow suit, saying both President Biden and former President Donald Trump need to step aside for the next generation. Romney was a presidential candidate in 2012 and served a term as Massachusetts governor. Romney received heavy criticism over his decision to vote to impeach Trump in 2021, the only Republican to do so. While strategists believe it would have made for a challenging 2024 campaign, Romney believes he still would have won re-election in the Senate. Finally, this morning, the largest newspaper chain in the country has posted 2 new job openings, and they're creating some bad blood with critics. Gannett, the owner of more than 200 daily papers, including USA Today, is looking to hire 2 writers to cover specific musical artists, one being a Taylor Swift reporter and the other a Beyoncé reporter. Both job listings state that Gannett is looking for someone who can capture the singer's effects across the music and business worlds. For example, Taylor Swift's Eras Tour is estimated to generate close to $5 billion in consumer spending in the U.S. However, critics, including other journalists, question the new role's importance amid recent layoffs at the newspaper company. Some see this as the paper replacing real journalism with superfan behavior. Gannett's vice president defends the openings, saying they are not hiring these writers at the expense of other reporters. These are your top stories for this Thursday. Thank you for joining us on the Morning Rundown. We're on a mission to bring back trustworthy journalism by serving only you, not an agenda. Be sure to check out more of our work at san.com and on the Straight Arrow News app. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, I'm Kara Rucker. Have a great day.